Hi, this is Avar from Scrappy Mania, and today we're going to play with my GOPRESS foil. Now, I've been playing with it. You have to play with it in order to understand this machine. When you first get it from the box, I was getting really bad results. Like this one was a bad results. It really wasn't working. And I have some other ones that I use it for shimp because they did not work out very well. That one, terrible results. And look at this one, not good. Look at this one, awful results. That's another bad results. So I kind of use this for my shim, but I've learned, and what I've learned from all those trials and error is that the foil matters, the type of foil you buy, and also the cardstock matter. So one thing that I really learned is the smoother the cardstock, the better. And you want to use a nice weight cardstock. At least for me, like the Recollection 110 pound worked very well. The Nina Index cardstock worked very well as well. And also Bristol, the smooth Bristol, worked very well for this technique. What didn't work very well for the technique to use the discard, so as you can see, after I foiled my flower, I wanted to use the discard, and I was able to do that here, and I'll show you the sandwiches to make this. It's all about pressure and sandwich. So once you get the right pressure and the right sandwich, it will work, and it's all about the foil. This foil is very economical at Amazon. You get a lot. However, this foil is not good to use, to be able to use the leftovers, because I was trying to use it here. Once I cut out my image, or foiled my image, I was trying to use it, and it would never adhere to the cardstock, even though it's the same type of cardstock that I use here. And see here, this one is another one. After I used it, it says happy birthday. I wanted to use the discard, never worked. And it's because I was using the cheaper foil. This is the Spellbinder foil. And with the Spellbinder foil, I'm getting very nice results. So I have the Spellbinder foil here and also Anna Griffin. Now, with the Anna Griffin one, I wasn't getting that good results, but it may have been the pressure. The other thing that I was having trouble with is with the Cuttlebug. My Cuttlebug was not doing the amount of pressure I needed. I was getting areas that was missing the foil. I did not like that. My Sizzix did a little better, but again, it was not consistent. Here, as you can see, it really did a great job. And look at this one. Great job. It really did very well. And with this, I use my my Evolution. Because my Evolution, I can adjust the dial, and it worked perfect. Now, I bet if I would have kept playing with my Sizzix and kept playing with my Cuttlebug, it might have worked. But I just didn't want to mess around with it too much, so I just pulled my Evolution. And I think my Evolution will be the die cutter machine that I will use in order to do my foiling. And there's not a lot of videos on using the Evolution for foiling. So let me show you my settings on that, and I think you'll have a better results if you have the Evolution. I did enroll in the Glimmer Kit of the Month, so that way I can start building on my glimmer, my foiling dies, because I don't have a lot of these. So, and it's only $20, and I'll put the link for if you want to become a member and you have a GOPRESS, or even a, if you have the Couture Creation one, that like the one I have, or the Anna Griffin one, which is Couture Creation, and or the Spellbinder one, or even the Crafter's Companion foiling kit will also work. So it's only $20 a month, and every month you will get a cutting die. So far, every month I've been getting a cutting die, and then I get my foiling plates. What a foiling plate is, it doesn't have any cut areas. It's not a cutting die, it's just a foiling die, so it's nice and flat. You can also use it for letterpressing with inks, or with paint or dyes. You can do that technique with this. Today I just want to play with my machine. I want to use foiling. But there's a lot of technique you can use with these dyes. And I'll have little videos on the different techniques of using inks, using paint for these dyes. So the first thing you want to do is you want to heat up. I've been heating up my GOPRESS. You want it nice and hot. You can feel it's nice and hot. I'm going to pop my plate on here. And you only need 30 seconds to heat it up. While it's heating up, I'm going to go ahead and get my foil. You have a shiny side and then a matte side. The matte side is the one that you want to use. And the other trick that you want to do is you want to cut your foil the same size as your dye, so that way you do not get any over foiling. So one way that you can do this is you can just put the dye before you pop it in the plates in your machine. You can just use the dye to trace out the size that you need and just trim around it. And as you can see, it's nicely trim. It's about the same size as my dye. And then I'm just going to put that there. And I think that's it. Then I'm going to pop my cardstock. So this is Recollection 110 pound cardstock. And this, you want to put the smooth side down, which it's usually smooth on both sides. But if you have any texture on your cardstock, you want to make sure that you put the smooth side down. Okay. Now I'm going to use 2 shims, and these are also Recollection 110 pound. And you know, usually your discard, you want to save those and use those shims. So I'm going to put 2 shims on here. It moved on me. Put this on top. Then I'm going to put 2 shims on top of that. Let it heat up. Now the setting for my evolution is a number foil, so 4. If you look right on the side, it has a dial system. And you have 0 to 15 on the side here. Then you have here in die cut, letterpress, and embossing. I usually use the number for my press and go, or foil and go, whatever this is called. I use my number in order to use my GOPRESS foil. And I have it already set to number 5. So when I'm using a die, a foil die, I put it on number 5. And I use 2 shims, 110 pound cardstock. And I let it heat up very well. And now I'm just going to run it through, and you want to be very slow. You want to make sure that the foil has time to really adhere to the cardstock. And then you really don't have to come back, but it's a lot easier for me just to come back just because how my desk is set up. I'm going to pop this back onto my plate, and then let's go ahead and look at it. And you can see the foiling. Let's pull it. And see, it did not foil on that side very well. And this is the Anna Griffin foil. This foil, I have a harder time with getting a perfect impression. But it's pretty good. You just put a little some flowers there, cut it to size, and it'll be fine. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and see if we can use this excess in a little bit. Now let me go ahead and use, I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm using the Spellbinder foil. So I'm going to do the same technique like I did before with the Anna Griffin foil. I'm just going to cut it to size, and then I'm going to trim the corners to prevent any excess foiling on my cardstock. I'm going to place it down with the shiny side down against the die, the matte size against my cardstock, and then I'm going to place two 110-pound shims, let it heat up, and then I'm going to go and pass it through my die cutting machine at a setting of 5 very slowly. Now you see that it's fast because I have in fast motion, but it was very slow. See how this is going to be a lot better, because I really think that the Anna Griffin foil, especially the color foil, is not the greatest. I would invest in the Spellbinder one, or even Couture Creation has good foil. And look, perfect foiling every time. Look at that, perfect foil. That is just magnificent. Love it. Compare this one to this foil. So the foil has a lot to do. Look at that, same setting. It was number 5. Same shimmies. I used two 110 cardstock. Same paper. This is the same Recollection 110 pound. The only difference was the foil. So see how it didn't foil well? So just stick with the Spellbinder foil and the Couture Creation foil. You will have success. I'm not liking the Anna Griffin one. Well, at least maybe it's the Anna Griffin, this type of foil, the color foil. It's not the greatest. Okay, so now the next technique that I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this out. So you have some tweezers. So the magnet's at the bottom. You're going to clip your tweezers like that. And actually my magnet fell out. I had to use Gorilla Glue to really glue it on. So you clip it down. You hold it like this. Use your magnet to pick up your die. And then you let it go. Then you push it. So let me do that again. You just let it go. Okay. Now, for the next techniques, we want to go ahead and use the excess that you see here. So I want to use this whole excess. So the way to do that, you're going to have to put a thin spacer plate. And this one is a little thinner, so you want the thin one. I'm going to put that there. Okay. You're going to let that heat up. You're going to put your foil onto your plate like so. I hope you can see that. Kind of a little off screen, but I just want to show you. You put your plate, you put your excess there, or the discard there. You take your cardstock and you put it on here. Okay. The trick to this is you need some kind of rubber mat, not a real thick rubber mat. Just this is a Spellbinder rubber mat, but you can also use the Sizzix rubber mat. Stacy was demonstrating how to do this, and she used the Sizzix rubber mat. I don't have that one, but I do have the Spellbinder one, so I think that will work. I'm going to take 2 of my cardstock, and let's close the lid. I'm going to let it get green again, and then I'm going to change my dial to 8. So right on the side, so let me see if I can show you this. So right on the side, I'm going to change it to 8. Okay. The reason why I'm going to change it to 8, because no longer do we have this plate. So this plate has some thickness. So we're losing that thickness of the plate when we just use the foil. So we want to go ahead and make sure that there's a pressure, so that way it will make sure that the foil will adhere to the paper. And then we're going to do the same thing with the Anna Griffin. Now I'll show you the Anna Griffin. Nah, it doesn't work that well. These are Spellbinder. I love it. Spellbinder is very good. Okay, so it turned red again. So I'm going to pull it out. And then very slowly, okay, it's not going through, so I'm going to bring it to number 7. And you're going to have some resistance. But try not to make it too much resistant that it will break your plate. And then I'm going to put it to number 5, so that way, number 4, and I'm going to bring it back. Actually, I should have left it at number 4. It is having some good resistance at number 4. Okay. Put it back on the plate. And let's see. Okay. Let's see. Did it work? No, it did not work. So what we can do is put it back on and give it a little longer to heat up. Go ahead and put the cardstock. So because we're not using a die, you can easily check and make sure that if it's not completely full, you can bring it back, do the same thing again. And actually I changed the dial to number 6, and you can run it through slowly until it transfers. So I have it at 6.5. Okay, let's see. Look, perfect. Perfect. You just trim it a little bit, and there you can use that for another card. So we'll make some cards with that. So we'll see. So show you how to use it. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So I'm going to put the shiny part or the shiny side down. I'm going to get some more cardstock. Go ahead and use my embossing mat, 2 shims. Let it heat up really good, and then I'm going to run it through. So I'm going to let it heat up for a little longer, maybe a minute, and then we'll run it through. Okay, it's been about a minute, and see the red light came back on, and I'm going to run it through slowly. That rubber mat, what it's doing is it's giving it a little more pressure. It's putting more pressure on that foil and the cardstock. And since it's a rubber mat, it doesn't destroy my plate because it gives. So you got to be very careful how much pressure you're putting for this plate, because you may break it if you put too much pressure. Okay. Put it back on. Get my shims off. And I can already see it's probably not going to adhere that well. Right here, I can see it buckling, and right there. So let's put it back on. So let me show you in case. See how when I fold it, you'll see that see how it buckles right there and there. So those are the areas that it didn't foil when it buckles that way. So I'm going to put it back on. We're going to run it again. And let it heat up a little longer. So I'm letting it heat up really nicely and then doing it again. With the Griffin color foil, it's really a trial and error, and it's not my favorite foil of all of them. Okay, let's peel it. It is what it's going to be. This is not, this foil, I'm telling you, it's not the greatest. See? It's the foil. The foil makes a big difference. So if you're getting frustrated, change your foil. That could be the difference, because if you were my witness, you saw same technique, same cardstock, same pressure, same rubber mat, but yet look at the difference. Your foil could be the one. So don't buy the cheap foil. You really need to get the Spellbind, and it's not expensive. This foil is only a couple bucks. So I would recommend you stick with the Spellbinder or the Couture Creation. The Griffin one, just if you have any of that, get rid of it. It's not the greatest. You can use it for this. So if you have dies, you can use it for your dies, but not for when you want to use the discard. So now let me show you about the foil. I'm going to take this off because we don't need it no more. And I'm going to pop the little icons that this came with. So I went ahead and, so I'm going to go ahead and use the Amazon foiling. You can use it with dies. It does work well. It does work well with lettering. Doesn't work very well sometimes with large dies like this. And it definitely does not, you cannot use the discard. And I'll show you in a moment. It doesn't work. But I went ahead and put my 2 dies there. I'm going to go ahead and put my foil, put my cardstock, go ahead and put my 2 shims, change my dial to number 4, or actually 5, close the lid, and I'm going to let it heat up. I'm going to pull it out. It's nice and hot, and let's go very slowly. So even though you see me go very fast here, is because I speed up the video, but you really want to really go very slow, and then a couple times you're going to go back and forth to make sure it transfers. And look, it's gonna, you can see the impression. So usually when you see that, it means it foiled good, and it didn't. See, this foil is not the greatest. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So let me show you the same technique but with good foil. So let's use good foil. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to use some cardstock. So let's just repurpose some of this cardstock. Two shims, 110 pounds. Close the lid. It's at number 5. And then we run it through. Okay, this is nice and hot. Let's run it through. same technique, going very slow and going back and forth, making sure that it transfers. Same type of cardstock. See? Perfect foiling. Nothing changed. So if you're not getting good results, it is not the machine. More than likely it's the cardstock or the foil. So I will switch to a different foil. Okay. Now let's try this Griffin one. I'm not very fond of this one, but let's try it in case you do have it. Let's see how well this one works. I cut it too short. So let me cut another piece. I'm not a fan of this one. Really, I'm not. Okay, let's go ahead and get some more cardstock. Actually, let's just repurpose this one because we're just testing. And you want to test your shims, you want to test your cardstock, you want to test your heat, your pressure, your machine dials, and then you want to write that down. I'm going to use 100, this is 80 pound, actually this is an 80 pound cardstock. I usually put here it is, here are my 110 pound. That could have been, because this is 80. I write my pound on my shim, so I think that was it. It was, I'm going to redo it with the Amazon foil because I was using 80 pound instead of the 110 pound, and that could have been the issue. So let's redo this test. Okay, so now it's nice and hot. Let's run it through. Still not going to work. See? That one worked, but the other one didn't. It's not consistent. This I don't like it. Well, let's try again with this one just before we kind of say that the Amazon hot foil does not work. And let's go ahead and get some more cardstock. I have to cut some of this. Put that on there. 110 pound. Place that there. Close the lid. We'll let it heat up again. Okay, so it went back to red. Is blinking. That means it turned itself off. I see that it may have worked. Looks like I have more pressure. I had more pressure on the top one than the bottom. If that's the case, just move your dies. So let's go ahead and move the dies. So if you've seen results like this, move your dies to the center. Let's cut another piece. And it could be the way the rollers in here is hitting it. That could be my issue. I'm going to get some more cardstock. Let's try it again. This time we're going to put it this way. Let's see if the pressure, remember I had it from up and down, and it could be that the rollers is not, the pressure's not as even. I was having an issue with that one area there. So now by putting it alongside, let's see how that pressure works. You still could use it, but it's not perfect. Pull it out and run it through. I hope this video is helpful. and give you some techniques and tips on if you're not getting good results, to kind of identify why it may be that you're not getting good results. Okay. Let's pull it. No. Not good results. So it is, the foil is, it has a lot to do, because this, the Spellbinder foil, same pressure, same everything, looked perfect. Not that consistent, and when I moved it, not that consistent. Definitely here, big issue with this foil. Let's go ahead and put our plate back on. Let that heat up pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put my foil. So that's the Amazon economic foil. This is the Spellbinder, the Spellbinder foil right here. And then where did I put the other piece of foil? I don't know where I put the discard of this foil. Well, it's not going to work anyhow. Oh, is it here? Nope. It must have fallen. So let me go ahead and let this heat up, and then I'm going to find the other discard of this so I can put it on here and we can test it. Well, I didn't find it, but I'm telling you it doesn't work. So I'm not going to waste time trying to find it. But let's go ahead and test this one. Here's a 110-pound cardstock. Oops. Should have put the cardstock on here. So my cardstock, 110 pound. My mat, 110 pound shims, 2 of these on top. Let's close the lid, let it heat up again. I'm going to change my dial to 7.5, 8. See, it's going to come out like that for that one, so I couldn't find it. It's just got lost in my craft room somewhere. Okay, so it should be nice and heated right now. So I'm going to pull it and let's run it through the machine. So I'm going to adjust it to number 6. It's not running through. Now it's going to run through. So is that number 6? You don't want to force this through. You want to make sure that it does go through, but you don't want to force it because you can break your plate. Okay. Okay, let's peel the Amazon. Don't even waste time with that. It did not go. Now let's peel the Spellbinder. Look at that. Perfect. Same setting. I'm telling you, if you're having issues, get the Spellbinder. And here is the next one. Okay. Well, this is a long video, so stay tuned for the second part of this video where I'm going to show you how I use all these in some cards. So I hope you liked this video and I gave you some good tips, and thank you for watching. Bye now.